beautiful souls, to the channel. I'm Sheik, your conscious mentor, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys part 2, day 2 of my ayahuasca retreat that I recently went to. If you guys haven't seen the first part of the video, I will link it here so you can go watch it. But let's just say the day 2 was definitely interesting. It ripened my experience, and this is probably the most important day which leaded up to my full lesson that I had from my ayahuasca. So get prepared to hold your seats because this is going to be an interesting ride of what's to come in this story. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like and subscribe, as well as put notification bells. I do 3 or more videos every single week. I do full moon, new moon rituals, and so much more. And if you feel called to do some energy work and deepen your experience, don't forget to apply for the conscious mentoring down below, or you can message me on Instagram for a card reading. Today's subscriber of the day is Adriana. Thank you so much for being part of this family. I'm so grateful for each and every single one of you guys being part of the intention to support over 1 million souls. Let's get into the story time. So the story time today, I'm going to be deep diving into my day 2. I might even do a third part depending on timing, but I wanted to share with you guys one of the biggest, most profound experiences that I had on my second day doing this retreat. Now, when I last chatted with you guys, basically I was talking about ancestral, deepening my connection. And it's funny, I journal, but I was telling my friend, talking to you guys actually helps me journal my experience because more and more downloads connect more and more that I talk about it. And I noticed that it helps me and you guys to share the experience. So I want to say thank you to you guys for having this opportunity to share this experience with you. So day 2, I went to sleep after this last part that you guys saw in the last part. I woke up and I slept in quite a bit. When I woke up, everyone around me was already upstairs for breakfast. And I came upstairs and everyone was like, oh, hey, and such an amazing community. If there's one thing that I can share about the ayahuasca retreat is that when you're going to this retreat, we all have, like I said, different reasons why we're here, but we're all there for the same reason at the same time. So there is just so much love in the space, at least at the one that I went to, that was just so beautiful. And I felt so safe. I felt so loved. I felt so welcomed. I felt so open to share about my experience. So we ended up sitting there, and for breakfast, they really suggest not having acidic foods. Now, there was pineapple and oranges and stuff, but you know, the way that my shaman talks about it, and I agree with him, is like, do what's best for your body. Everyone's body is different. So I kind of stuck to my plant dieta. I had, I think it was like a custard tart, like vegan tart. I ended up having some berries and a banana and a little croissant, and it was really, really yummy. And then I sat down with a bunch of us in the living space and started talking about our experiences. And one thing that I noticed that is so beautiful about Mama Ayahuasca is you're going through your own experience of healing, but then you connect with people in the room. So as you start to share about your experiences, you start to see that there were other people that had similar ways that Mama Ayahuasca basically connected you all to the energy in the space. So even though you're going alone, you're actually a collective energy. So I talked about my ancestral experience, and 3 women that were there actually had similar experience of deep ancestral womb work. And I think right now, with just the world and how things are going, I think a lot of us are feeling called to remove karmic pain, to remove healing, and just times of shedding, years and years of shedding of energy that we didn't have a space to release that. And if you feel that calling right now of doing that karmic work, and I'm not saying just ayahuasca, other energy work, let me know in the comments section that you're like, you feel that it is time. It's time to change this ancestral line and to heal what has been done, to heal what's been done in your lifetime, your past lifetime, and to your family as well. And one thing that we all connected with was that all the pain that our parents went through, we were seeing, and how much that energy was stored in ourselves, and that we were the turning point of releasing that energy during that ceremony. And it was powerful. I also talked about how I was burnt to the stake as a witch, and when that happened, I noticed another girl saying that she had the same experience, having her going, as she's Indian descent, and she said that her experience was that a lot of women were killed during that time, and it was all of the pain of these babies that were killed because they were women, and the type of just I guess, ancestral pain of fearing that you would have a child that was a girl and not to feel that sense of love that you have a child, period. And I think that was something that she went through. And I also felt the pain similarly of how our family generation of, you know, a lot of people in my ancestral line feeling used, who were slaves, and feeling that sense of abuse as well, and releasing that pain that they had. One thing I connected was my womb was really activated through the whole healing, and I definitely felt that. But all in all, I noticed there were 3 patterns through everyone in the room. There was womb ancestral work, the serpent. So the Mama Ayahuasca works with the snake energy. And there was a part in the ceremony, talking to you guys, it's like all coming through again, where there was a snake beside me. And if you don't know, one of my fears are snakes. And one of the things that Mama Ayahuasca does is she makes you see your fear, but in such a loving way that when you trust in her, the fear goes away. It detaches from you. And I felt this snake kind of I saw it through my sleeping bag. But then eventually it worked up to my sacrum, and it was sitting coiled up in my sacrum. And if you know what I'm talking about, if you know what I'm about to say, then you know, but my Kundalini awakened. And that's when the womb really expanded. So I felt this snake slither through, up my body, out into my crown, exploring this beautiful ray of light and energy coming through. And because I couldn't really see it, again, at this point in my ceremony, I'm not seeing things much. I'm feeling it. I'm seeing visions, but I'm not seeing them clearly. It was almost like if I focus on the vision too much, it would disappear. So I had to really surrender. And that was one thing that I learned about the ceremony. When you're doing an ayahuasca ceremony, try your best not to force things when you see things. Allow it to flow to you. And I know it sounds Chica, of course I'm going to surrender. But when you're at the point and you kind of see certain things, you tend to focus so much on it, and that's not surrendering. Surrendering is just laying back and seeing what comes through, and not focusing and trying to decide, what does that mean? That will all come after. So that was something that I learned through this day too as well. But as I opened my Kundalini, I just felt this activation in my womb space that opened up this floral of patterns and flowers and energy that was coming from me, but coming from my grandmother, coming from my mom, coming from generations of women that I didn't even know. And that power was all the power that every human, regardless, has. And it unlocked. And that was so beautiful. Now, the next part I wanted to share was that there was a big space of accepting our new self and releasing our old. And as you guys know, I'm an energy healer, and it's something that I was very quiet about for years and years and years, because I just felt like I don't want to use this word because I feel like it's not this word, but I just felt like I was scared of letting go of my old self, of who I was, being in fashion, being in the corporate world, being in marketing, being in a space that is so ego driven, and finding out on one day that a trauma happened to wake me up and to bring me where I am today, that was just a small part of me. And it was a part of me that I exaggerated so much that wasn't meant for my intention. It was meant for me to experience, but it wasn't my end destination. It was a pit stop. And when I went to the ceremony, one of my intentions was, I want to see my purpose. I know I'm a healer, I know I'm a light worker, but that's just so vague to me. I want to learn more about that. And over the past couple months, over the past couple months, the things that I've gotten through have been so confirming that I'm meant to be, it's amazing, it's crazy. So all in all, this to say was that I walked into that ceremony asking Mama Ayahuasca to prove to me that I am worthy, to prove to me my confidence of myself, that I can accept being a healer, when all in all that confidence was within me the whole time. And she told me through this experience, she said that, Shika, it's time to shed. It's time to shed that old part of you, of hoping that you need to keep this aspect of staying in the public world, in the media world as an influencer, which, I consider myself an educator, guys. Here, this is our family, this is our community, this is our tribe. And I'm sure a lot of you have experience walking away from a job because you have how many years of experience and this is what you're meant to do, and you tell yourself that, but that is all a reality that you are creating in your mind. No one tells you, no one except for yourself tells you that you have to be where you are today. And you decide to take that new journey or not. It's up to you. And that was what my guides were telling me. Shika, like, are you going to take this new journey, or are you going to continue to hide behind, you know, kind of stepping your foot into this healing world, but not fully accepting it? So there were a lot of fears that were coming through that I needed to fully embrace. And I looked at this one girl that we connected. It was so funny. Since the night before, we just like connected energetically. And she came beside me, put her lap on me, and she's like, Shika, you are a healer. You are meant to heal people. And that is something that today you have accepted. And when I tell you, I just bawled, it felt like, oh my God, I can be a healer. I can help people. I've been doing it. I've been doing it. You guys, some of you, I've healed, right? But now it's like there was like a 15% of my energy and my gifts that wasn't unlocked because of that fear of fully embracing that new version of myself was still there. And what Mama Ayahuasca told me, she showed it to me and she allowed me to detach it. From that moment, I could fully accept that version of myself. It just felt so good. I'm a healer. I'm a light worker. I am worthy of being so, and you are worthy of being whatever you want. And if there is something right now that you're saying, Shika, like, I'm in between two worlds, share down below, release that. Because again, the moment that you do, you are now accepting energy to flow to you, to that new identity. And it's okay to shift through the world. It's okay to change yourself. It's okay to not be the same person, but you have to say it's okay. So after all of that, we ended up going outside, and the property was beautiful. There was a beautiful lake and trees, and we walked around the lake, and it was just so nice just to connect again with these people that had similar reasons why they were there, ancestral breaking, and a lot of us having very similar experiences and just connecting, and it was so beautiful. Now, during the day of my actual ceremony, the beautiful thing about this specific place is we do various different plant medicines up to your choice, up to whatever you feel called to throughout the day. So they actually had the Amazonian peppers that actually help you with your heart chakra and expand. Those I didn't try out. But the ones that I did try was Sananga, Sananga, I'm sure you guys have heard of it. It's a plant that you can actually put in your eyes, and it does sting for 2 to 5 minutes, but it actually helps you create more visionaries in your ayahuasca experience. People can use it for helping healing the eyes, vision, so much more. So I actually tried it, and it helped me a lot, which I'll talk about later on, but it helped me a lot through my ceremony. Now, this is when things get ripened. This is when the whole ceremony gets to a whole new level, okay? So after I decided to go downstairs, and I felt called to do another ayahuasca cup. And at this point, I've already taken 1 to 2 cups, okay? So I took 2 cups the night before. This would be my 3rd cup of ayahuasca for the weekend. And I'm thinking it's fine because the night before I didn't really purge. I purged like once or twice, but it wasn't much. Like I felt like I was still resisting, if that makes sense. It felt like I was still resisting a bit from Mama Ayahuasca. So I took I took my cup, it was a full cup, and I said thank you to the shaman. And I went upstairs because I just didn't feel anything. And as I was sitting there, it started to hit me more and more and more. And I thought, maybe I need some air. So I went outside, sat. I literally didn't even last 5 to 10 minutes before I went inside at this point. So we're sitting, we're talking, and I'm like, and I have my bucket. They say your bucket's your best friend. You bring it everywhere once you are in ceremony, because you never know when you're going to purge. And I agree with that. My bucket was my best friend. So I held it, and I just felt, I heard Mama Ayahuasca saying, Shika, go lie down. So I got up and I excused myself from the group, and I said, I think I need to purge. And they were all like, girl, go do your thing. You got this. So I went inside. And at this point, as I start to step at the front door, I'm like, I don't know if I can make it. Like, I feel like a low-key have to like go down, like a good like purge. I felt like I had to really purge. So I went inside, went downstairs, and then the purging went away. It was like as soon as I went into ceremony space, it went away. And I laid down there, and then all of a sudden I just felt she was connecting to me. And this is the part that was interesting. So my body started to get really, really cold, and I had a vision that I was freezing to death. And I can see myself, it felt like the North Pole, and I was there, and I just started saying, I trust you, and I breathed, and it was like my body disappeared, and all I became was my breath. And my heart rate went lower and lower and lower, but I trusted. And the moment that I said that I trust in Mama Ayahuasca, I will survive this, it took me out of that cold space because I released that fear, and it brought me to my childhood. It brought me to my childhood. It brought me to a time when I was a kid, and basically me dancing and listening to karaoke. Woo, excuse me. Big sneeze. Karaoke. And if you guys don't know, I used to love to sing. I am that kid, and still that kid, that would make you dance when you don't want to dance, and I would somehow get that person who doesn't want to dance. That was me. That was my child. That was like my energy. I had that energy in me. So anyways, long story short, I connected with this, and I connected with you know, my inner child. But then all of a sudden the space turned dark. It was like this dark overshadowing shadow on my happiness. And I started to get scared. I was hiding. And that fear came from a masculine energy. And I knew where this masculine energy was coming from. And at this point, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified. I'm so scared. And it was my dad. So I felt his anger. And my parents, they work really hard. They also had a lot of ups and downs. And one of the things that came through for me was that my dad's anger that he had of holding in so many things because he thought that he couldn't express his emotions were all suppressed, all like held into his body. And I just kind of said, like, I told my younger self, it's going to be okay. You don't have to be scared of dad anymore. You don't have to be scared of him getting angry sometimes. You don't have to feel that you need to be there. And I remember sitting and talking to my dad, and he was so angry, he wouldn't talk. So at this point, Mama Ayahuasca held me into this, and then she brought me to my mom, and she told me that your mom really appreciates you being there, but you can't be the one that's always holding in the punches. And I remember always being that person that my mom would vent to, and she would tell me things that up to now, she says, I feel like I should have told you, I told you too much at this age. And yeah, but we both were in so much pain, we went to each other, right? And that's why I told you each and every single one of us had different experiences, but we were there for a reason. And then once I sent love, I was like, I love you, Mom, I love you, Dad, the image went away. And then it brought me back to my body temperature being cold. Like I had my coat on, I knew it was Mama Ayahuasca. There was another fear coming through. And this fear that came through, and I want to share this with you guys, but this is very intense. The fear that came through was being pregnant. I have been scared of having a child for years, and I think it's a lot to go through the trauma I went through. I know as a healer, I continue to heal. I'm what you called someone that is a wounded healer as of right now, as in the time of me recording this video. And what that means is that I feel people's energy to the bone. And because I've been through that same pain, and it's beautiful to be a healer that feels that. However, I continue to do my inner work. And you guys know that I do plant medicine. I continue to do that work because I know I have to. Like I need to. In order for me to serve you, to serve our community, I need to work on myself, right? And that's something that a lot of people don't know. Like there are some healers out there, and that is fine. They're beautiful to work with, because when you tell them you're going through, they actually know what they've experienced. And that being said, we also have to work on ourselves, right? So I always go and do these retreats. I do that inner work because I want to work on myself and expand myself so I can help people in deeper ways. So all in all, I felt this feeling of this experience, and it was just a lot to share, but I will do a snippet of the flashes of what Mama Ayahuasca showed me. So she brought me back to when I was just born and my parents having an argument, and the energy going towards me into my womb, into my body. And and I saw it kind of hurting my mom and me again, like I mentioned before, but then it showed me to now, and it showed me and my current partner living in a house together. But then I knew, because my temperature was going lower, that there was a fear she was going to show me. So I was like, okay, she's showing me love, she's showing me energy, she's showing me happiness. And being with my partner now, he's amazing. I love him so much. I'm grateful that through the experiences I've went through, I've been able to open up with him. I've been able to heal myself and continue to do so. And he's been so patient, which, hold a pin on that, because this will be important. So we move into this house, and it shows us living our life together. And then I get pregnant, and then the fear kicks in. I get colder. My temperature gets colder as I'm seeing this vision. And keep in mind, at this point, this is my first very, very like clear vision. I haven't had clear visions before this. So I'm like, whoa, what's going on? This must be a big lesson. Also, the energy is starting, I'm like reciprocating, and I'm telling myself, surrender, surrender. Because remember, we don't want to focus too much and working too much on just like letting it be and being in that moment. So I get pregnant in this vision, and I hear again, she says that your purpose is to nurture someone who is a girl specifically that will come into this lifetime. So I surrender, and then all that fear becomes happiness. I'm happy, and it shows us living our life and how he takes care of me. And then I just start crying of happiness, because I felt at one point that I was not worthy of having this love. I was not worthy of having someone to love me the way that he does. And then she took me to death. She took me to pain. She took me to understanding more about this world through my own experience. And all of a sudden, it turned from amazing happiness, love, to pain, where I saw myself. I didn't see the person, and I knew that whoever I was crying about was dead. And she showed me that through that, she showed me that my partner and I was at the funeral. And I know that this connects to a past life, because I didn't do the work years ago in past lives, that this caused this to manifest into our family. And in a past life, I did lose my partner. In a past life, I was scared of death. In a past life, all of those things that were still in my soul. But it was almost like I got mad at her because she exchanged my child for my lover. But she was showing me that when you love someone, you are willing to not only take the love, but also the pain. And for us to learn and to experience and to expand our soul, think about it, shadow work. It's not easy. We cry, we have anger, we go through fears, but that's because we're expanding our soul. That's because we're understanding how to expand our heart and love ourselves. Think about when we decide to date someone and you're still with that person today. If you weren't able to take that chance of all the heartbreaks and leaving that abusive relationship and all those things, you wouldn't be with that person or have that next soulmate on their way to you. You wouldn't think that you were worthy of that love. So she was trying to tell me that my partner and I were yin to our yang. I was seeing, I wasn't fearful of death. I didn't see death, until that time. To me, I was like, whatever. But she was showing me that my fear to love is equal to death. And my partner, who is fearful of death, but not fearful of love, and how we were balancing each other. And that's why we were perfect soulmates, So she showed me that, through the hardships I'm currently going through in my personal life, as we start to create our life together, and how much this year of being at home all the time has really challenged us to have very deep conversations that I feel like we would have probably not communicated as well in such short periods of time and developed a relationship if it wasn't for this crazy year that we've had. But because of those crazy years and getting uncomfortable, we have brought us to here. It has brought us to actually saying what we want. It has brought us to healing in parts of me. And as I heal myself, I am healing my relationship. I am healing parts of my heart, which reminds me, I felt like I was getting surgery in my heart once I accepted that fear is love and love is pain. And we equate the two. We need to balance the two. But through that is how we rebirth ourselves. And I was rebirthing through that. Now, through that whole experience, it then brought me to, once I've accepted that, my life. I was in a beautiful home with my partner and a beautiful little girl, and she had such amazing gifts. And I nurtured it. I gave her that love. I told her how much we loved her. She was in a loving home. But her ambience, her aura represented so much more. She represented us too, but also generations. And she is changing the world as much as I am, as much as we all are. So when we do that karmic ancestral work for ourselves, we're actually helping so many people after us and before us. And I think that was the biggest lesson that universe was sharing with me through this experience. And I can't stress enough how important it is for us to understand that our power within ourselves is so deep, so deep. And at that point, it brought me back to being in this cold space. But because I had so much love in myself and because I was so beautiful, it brought me to almost like rebirth myself at this point again. And it's like I went back to that death point, but this time I was not scared at all. I was not scared to freezing to death because I knew that this is my time. I'm not dying. It's just an illusion. And it was telling me that where I put my mind is where it's going to be. Where I put my mind is where it's going to manifest. So that was my second day. I ended up sleeping and passing out after that with my last words saying, thank you, Mama Ayahuasca. I love you. I love my younger Sheikah. I love current Sheikah. I love future Sheikah. I love my soul, my body, self, and all parts of me. And I appreciate all of the healing that you've given to me. I remember that vividly. And then I slept. I remember waking up and seeing, because of daylight savings right now, it was dark, and I was like, oh my gosh, did I miss the ceremony? But no, it was around probably 5. I didn't have my clock. Like I said, I turned off my phone. As soon as I got to the retreat, I was like, turn off my phone. I am good to go. I am focusing on me right now. No one else in the external world. This is my time. I wanted to make sure that I took every single inch and minute of this whole ceremony. So fast forward to going upstairs, and I can tell that everyone else probably went through their own, because some people did go through the cup, but it was just this silence and presence. And we had a Colombian, delicious, amazing food. It was almost like sancocho, but I love sancocho, by the way. It's one of my favorite. If any of you guys are Colombian or know what sancocho is, put a Colombian flag down below, because I love sancocho. It is one of my favorite soups. But we had such a hearty soup like that, and I ate, and it was one of the most present soups that I've had. But one of my favorite things that part of the retreat was, like, after all that work, the food tasted so much better. Because ayahuasca cleanses all parts of you, your taste buds, your appreciation, your gratitude, your love, your space. There's just so many parts of her. And at that point, she cleansed a lot of me. Like, I just did a ritual with her for 5 hours. So then when I woke up to have that food, I just felt like I cried so much. I cried so much when I talked about my dad and my mom and seeing their relationship and how it affected me and how it was manifested in various ancestral, and how it brought to my life and current life and my relationship, and how I was removing those karmic debts and continue to do so even after the retreat. And I just sat there and I ate, and we all ate in silence, and I can just feel this present moment. And that was one of my favorite moments of the retreat. We were in just this space of love and expansion and being, and it was beautiful. So yeah, we ended up doing some board games as we waited to do our next ritual, which is my next video, part 3, which will be next week on Monday. I will share with you guys one of the most profound, at this point in my next ceremony, get prepared, because this is the point where I ended up unlocking a lot of things, like things not from this world. Thank you so much for sitting down, having snacks with me, and having the amazing ritual little experience. And hopefully, like, if you feel called to, like I said, feel free to ask any questions about Mama Ayahuasca or what you felt called to. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like and subscribe, as well as put notification bells. I do 3 or more videos every single week, and I'll see you guys on the last and final series on what I saw. It was out of this world. All I'll say is, get prepared to be amazed. I love you guys so much. Bye.